Well, what about our characters? Right from the beginning of the author's note, you must be very aware that you are reading fiction. You're reading a book, and he makes you very aware of this right from the beginning. So he gives us this fictional narrator, the I, who meets somebody. And he says to this elderly man, please tell me your story. And this elderly man that he meets says, you must pay proper attention. And he says, I will. And he brings out a pen and a notepad. So what you're getting is Jan Martel is suggesting that this is truth. Yeah, he takes out his pen, he takes out his notepad, he's going to write this down. But this is the fictional author, and this is a character, not real at all. Then later on, he meets Pi Patel. We met many times. He showed me the diary he kept during the events. Notice the clues that this is meant to be real. This is really happening. He showed me the yellowed newspaper clippings that made him briefly, obscurely famous. He told me his story. All the while, what is this fictional author doing? Taking notes. Nearly a year later, after considerable difficulties, I received a tape and a report from the Japanese Ministry of Transport. So once again, there's an insistence on this is accurate, this is truthful, there are notes, there's a tape, there's a report. Now, what about this report from the Japanese ministry? It was, as I listened to that tape, that I agreed with Mr. Adirobasami that this was indeed a story to make you believe in God. And this is the elderly gentleman that we met before. So there are moments when the story which he's telling breaks down and it becomes a traditional author's note as we would expect. He says, I have a few people to thank. Well, that's typical of an author's note. He talks about the fact that he genuinely got this idea from another genuine author in another genuine book. And he thanks the Canadian Council for the Arts. Lastly, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to that great institution, the Canada Council for the Arts, without whose grant I could not have brought this story together. So, and if you look it up, apparently Jan Martel actually received 2 grants from exactly this council. But then, look what he's doing here. He starts to thank his characters as if they were real people. Speaks about thanking Mr. Patel, gratitude is boundless, hopes his story doesn't disappoint him. He thanks another character, the one that we looked at a little bit earlier. Then he thanks 3 officials, whom he says behaved with exemplary professionalism, and he names them. There they are, from the Japanese embassy, from the shipping company, from the Ministry of Transport, now retired. But they're all characters. So do you see this mixture of fact and fiction in the author's note? And that's going to take us straight into themes.